Hello, it's me again, your today's teacher, Andrea Ponteres. I am reminding you guys that it will be a long way ride. Unlike our previous discussion about polysemy, which we only take 5 minutes, but because I am your teacher today, we will minimize the 260 pages PDF in less than 30 minutes. Hopefully, you will make your pen ready because it's gonna be one swift discussion. Let's get started.
Today we will have a further discussion about stylistic. What is stylistic? It refers to a study of the devices in a language used that affect one's interpretation of a text. According to Simpson 2004, it is a method of textual interpretation in which primacy of place is assigned to language. Sometimes it is called linguo-stylistic. What is linguo-stylistic? It is the study of literary discourse from a linguistic orientation, general linguistic that deals with special language media and certain types of text. They say that stylistic analysis has 3 Rs. Stylistic analysis should be rigorous, retrievable, and replicable. Why rigorous? Stylistic must take into consideration the output of the act of communication. The analysis must manifest the process and how we understand the various patterns in language. Why do we say it is retrievable? It is a means of communication which may ensure the effect sought. This analysis is said to be organized. The definition is clearly stated, but because of different study of stylistic, the difficulty occur by explain the exact meaning. Why it is replicable? It is not mean that we imitate some works of others. It is beyond the boundaries of individual sentence. Stylistic is the description of analysis of the variability of linguistic forms in actual language. The concept of style and stylistic variation in language rests on the general assumption that within the language system, the same context can be encoded in more than one linguistic form. And these are the linguistic level: lexicology, syntax, text linguistic, and interaction. Stylisticians analyze both style of specific text and stylistic variation across texts. Let's move to grammar and style. Grammar. It is a complex set of rules, systematic study and description of a language. They say that without grammar, there's no language is complete. When we talk about style, it is related to a choice of words used by a specific group of people when they speak. For instance, in jargons or other documents that relevance to law, it has a words that used to express what they are intended to say or write. There is a basic model of grammar. A model of grammar is a hierarchy from small unit to large unit. This hierarchy is called rank scale. This is the small unit in basic model grammar. We have morpheme, the small unit of sound. Phrase, brief expression. Clauses, group of words that contain subject and predicate. Sentence, group of clause, phrase, form syntax unit. It is organized and said to be a large unit in basic model grammar. Let's go to rhythm and meter. Usually, it is seen in poetry. Meter. It is the rhythm of syllable in a line of verse or in a stanza of a poem. Meter is what gives a poem its unique rhythm. When we say rhythm, it is an essential quality of a poetry marked by accent and stress, placed on certain syllables which need to be emphasized. Meter is organized rhythm it is means measure. Take a look at this example. In English poetry, we use V or X to mark the unstressed syllables, and dash or apostrophe for the stressed syllables. The process of sorting out the vertical patterns of poem is called scansion. Let's go to narrative stylistic. Narrative stylistic provides a way of retelling felt experience by matching up patterns of language to connected series of events. Comprises two clauses which is temporarily ordered. Change in their order will result in change in the way we interpret the assumed chronology of the narrative events. Example, I slipped by a banana trod and my classmates laughed suddenly. There is a progression between two actions described. The misfortune of mine by getting slipped lead to a response. See, there's a continuity. Style and point of view. Style and point of view. It is depends upon who is telling the story. Narrator usually is the person or character who is telling the story. Point of view. Almost all stories can be classified into two main categories. And these are the first person narrator and the third person narrator. In point of view, there are five subdivisions under these categories. In first person, one of the characters in the story is telling it. The narrator in first-person stories should never focus with the author. We must remember that. Narrator is created by the author. Under first person, we can say that I as a second character and I as a protagonist. In third-person narrator means that someone outside of the story tells it. Under it, we have multiple omniscient. Author gives us access to the minds and thoughts of several characters in the story. Godlike. Next, we have selective omniscient. Limits us to the mind of only one character, generally the protagonist. And dramatic or objective. Limits us even further to what the characters do and say, called the camera view. Let's go to style and style as a choice. Choice in styles are motivated, even if unconsciously, and these choices have profound impact on the way texts are structured and interpreted. We have experiential function. It is an important marker of style, especially that in narrative discourse, because it emphasizes the concept of style as choice. Transitive. This is a system which the particular grammatical facility is used for capturing experience in language. Expanded semantic senses used in traditional grammar, where it simply serves to identify verbs which take direct object. It refers to a way meaning are encoded in the clause into the way types of process are represented in language. Sorry for the noise. There are three key points of process. The process itself, which typically realized in grammar by verb phrase. The participants realized by noun phrase. The circumstances expresses by prepositional and adverb phrase. Let's go to representing speech and thought. Let's talk about first speech. It is a mixture. They say that every speech is a mixture of thought and language, idea, and expression. Speech, in some cultures, has become the basis of a written language, which can be different in its vocabulary, syntax, and phonetics from its associated spoken one. A situation called diglossia. Leech and Short's textbook, 1981, contained the first systematic account of this important narrative technique, and their account is rich in illustrative examples. Let's go to thought. Language influences not only thought but also the perception itself. The mind is reorganized, the brain is actually uttered, and their perception change in order to support the belief or the idea. It is according to Pierce. The most important fact uncovered through the genetic study of thought and speech is that their relationship undergoes many changes. Dialogue and in discourse. The late 1970s and early 1980s witnessed a new interest among stylisticians in the role of dialogue in literature. The concept of the literary speech situation required for its exploration the method of pragmatics, politeness theory, conversation analysis, and speech act theory. Dialogue in drama. It is important to think carefully about what we mean when we talk of literature as interaction. The interaction takes place between the author and the reader. Dialogue is the exchange of spoken words between two or more characters in book, plays, or other written works. In prose writing, dialogue used quotation marks and dialogue tags. Let's go to cognitive stylistic. It is an advanced field on the crossroad of linguistic, cognitive science, and literary studies that presupposes the integration of linguistic analysis with cognitive theories. The approach in cognitive stylistic is suitable to explain the linguistic construction of worldview in text. It analyzes an author's dialect, his individual language traits. Cognitive stylistic combines the kind of explicit, rigorous, and detailed linguistic analysis of literary text that is usually of the linguistic tradition with systematic and theoretical inform. Consideration of the cognitive structure and processes that underlie the production and reception of language. Cognitive stylistic extended the boundaries of stylistic analysis of literature by articulating different theories, such as schema theory. All experiences are stored in memory and in the human brain activities and draws upon this memory in the process of understanding and grappling with new experience data. Cognitive metaphor theory refers to the understanding of one idea or conceptual domain in terms of another. Conceptual metaphor theory. It is a peripheral to language and thought that holds instead that conceptual metaphor are central to thought and therefore to language. Mental space theory. It is a theoretical construct proposed by Gilles Faulkner. Mental space does not contain a faithful representation of reality but an idealized cognitive model. The main difference between a mental space and possible world is that a mental space does not contain a faithful representation of reality but an idealized cognitive model. Text world theory. According to Worth 1999, Govers 2009, all discourses are characterized by construction of set of rich defined conceptualized space known as world. The first world is discourse world. It is a spatio-temporal context in which the discourse takes place, which contains two discourse: the writer and the reader, speaker and the listener. Naturally occurring language events such as discourse. Text world. Partially establish the text worlds as situational variables, such as time, location, entities, and interrelationship provides information about actions, mental process, states, and attributes to entities in the text world. Last, we have subworld. it is result of dyadic shifts or modals shift away from the matrix world. Modal word switches are by prepositional modal word. To modalize according to the conventional separation between jontic, bolomic, epistemic context, and accounts for such things as expression of beliefs, desire, and obligation. Let's go to metaphor and metonymy. Someone is knocking. Metaphor and metonymy. These are the two fundamental opposite poles along which a discourse with human language is developed. Let's first discuss the metaphor. It is considered a substitution of one concept with another, while metonymy, it is associate one concept with another. In metaphor, it is an expression which shows similarity between two things. Metonymy, it is a figure of speech. By the way, they are both figure of speech. And metonymy, it is a figure of speech which refers to a thing not by name but by an associate word. Take a look at this example. In metaphor, heart of stone. This is an expression that refers to a person who is a cold-hearted, insensitive one. Heart compares to a stone but without using a word like or as to express it. In metonymy, I need a hand. The word hand means help. There is a deep meaning in terms of metonymy. Stylistic and verbal humor. There are two principles underpin the language of humor. First, humor requires incongruity. A. Any kind of stylistic thrust in the pattern of language. B. By any kind where there is a mismatch between what is said and what is meant. Second, incongruity can be located at any layer of linguistic structure. Therefore, analytic analysis of humor involves locating the incongruity and indicating whereabouts in the language system it occurs. We have stylistic devices for humor that commonly used. First, we have pun. Word, it is a form of wordplay or the fact that there are words which sounds alike but we have different meaning. A joke exploiting the different possible meanings of word, in which some of features of linguistic structures combine two possible and related meanings or more. We have example here. Josette has a photographic memory but she never developed it. See? Next we have parody. Parody and satires plays a particular kind of irony. Parody, it is a literary or music words in which the style of an author or work is closely imitated for comic effect or ridicule. When we say irony, it is incongruity of what was said and what are means. One is to say opposite of what you are mean, and another way is to echo what one says. It's very magulo. According to PDF that I've read, echoing is critical to parodying. When we say satire, parody and satire are related, difference not always easy to make out. When we say satire, it is commonly assumed that satire is aggressive in a way that parody is not necessarily. So, commonly, parody can remain affectionate to another source of not so satire. Parody may be just a little harmless humor. Have you learned? That's all for today. Take care always and God bless. Thank you.